Welcome back to the Peace Offering Kitchen. Today we are going to make a salad, and we are going to roast this delicata squash and put it in the salad, as well as open up this pomegranate and put all these pomegranate seeds in there. And then we are going to make a dressing out of this lemon balm that we just harvested from the garden. So it's going to take a moment for this squash to roast. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with that. So you have to start by cutting off the ends of the delicata squash, and then cutting it long ways down the center. Okay? Now from here you can scoop out all of these seeds. I'm gonna do that into my compost bin right here. All right, now this delicata squash, you can actually eat the skin, which is really nice. And so it is my opinion that the thinner you slice these, the better they taste. They just get really crispy. And, you know, this is going in a salad. So I just think the texture of having a thin, crispy slice of this delicata squash versus the big, huge chunk is the way to go. So just do the best you can. And then you'll get to a point at the end where it's just too dangerous to keep cutting it. And so I just give that to the chickens. All right. I'm gonna roast this on a cookie sheet at a high temperature, like 400 degrees. Depending on how thin you slice these, you know, it could take anywhere from probably 30 to 45 minutes to roast these. And so when you do roast them, you wanna make sure that you are using a saturated fat that can withstand a high temperature, because if you're going to cook at a high temperature, you don't want your oil to burn or oxidize or start breaking down or whatever might happen to it when it gets heated up past a certain point. Okay. Now, as best you can, spread these out into a thin layer, because the ones that are on top of each other are not going to get so crispy. And so it's fine to have some more crispy than others, but as much as you can, spread them out. All right, now I'm gonna season this with salt. I am not gonna do pepper today because I am adding serrano pepper rather to my salad dressing. And I generally only pick one pepper and stick with it when it comes to salad. Okay, and then the fat that I am using for this is ghee. So ghee is butter with the milk solids boiled out of it. So basically, when you heat up butter, the milk solids separate from the fat and they float up to the top. And then you can easily scrape off these milk solids. Then you are left with a dairy-free butter called ghee. Because it has its milk solids removed, it actually has a very high burn temperature. So it's nice if you're going to cook at a high heat to use ghee. It's also delicious because it's butter. Okay, so I've had this in the fridge, so it's quite hard. I'm basically just making dollops and scattering them around my pan. And this is, you know, kind of where you have your choice. Obviously, the more butter you add, the more of a fried consistency it's gonna have. Are you trying to eat lower fat? Well, then don't put as much ghee on. All right, but this looks about perfect for me. I'm gonna go get this in the oven that is preheated to 400 degrees. Now I'm gonna make the salad dressing. And so I just harvested this big bunch of lemon balm from the garden. I love lemon balm. It actually smells lemony. And it's a wonderful herb for anxiety, insomnia. Now with all my dressings, I add olive oil, 3/4 cup of olive oil to 1/4 cup of vinegar is the ratio basically. And then you can add to that, double it if you need it, you know. And then I'm gonna add some sweetness to this because I want to. Lemon balm lends itself to a little sweetness. Plus I'm putting the pomegranate seeds in my salad as well, which are kind of sweet. So I'm gonna do probably 2 tablespoons of honey. in this dressing. All right. And then I'm going to do a few cloves of garlic. Okay, those two are fine. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 cloves of garlic just because it is the winter time and I am trying to keep everyone healthy. So I'm just sneaking garlic into everything this time of year. All right. Now I'm going to do one of these serrano peppers. I think I'm going to pick the big guy. All right, just cut the top off and throw him directly in. And then I'm gonna do 2 egg yolks because again, it's the winter time. Egg yolks are so healthy for us and we're trying to always add protein in the diet. And so adding raw egg yolks is a great way to do that. So I have this bowl here to separate out my egg whites. Now, if you are going to have raw egg yolks, it's very important that you source good, healthy eggs. You definitely want pasture-raised eggs because chickens are not meant to be vegetarians and they should be allowed to eat the food that they're intended to eat. All right, and lastly, we are going to add some salt. All right, let me get the lid on this and we will start blending. I'm going to pause it here to taste for flavor. Oh, I think it is so fantastic. Oh, I'm so pleased with it. I'm going to let it go a little longer. All right. You just want to make sure you give this enough of a chance for the fats to emulsify in with the acid. All right, so I'm going to leave this here and then prep the salad. So I washed and dried my lettuce and I have it here in this bowl. And now I am going to show you how to get seeds out of this pomegranate. If you can get a full pomegranate rather than buying them already seeded, it's so much better for you because these have not yet had a chance to oxidize. Basically, you just cut it open like this, and then you start to sort of peel it back away from itself. And these will come out in like sheets, sort of pomegranates like this. And so there's this skin that grows in between them, and you can just pluck them out individually. And these are just so much sweeter and juicier if you can get them fresh, open them up yourselves. So I highly recommend that. Well, I actually recommend growing your own pomegranate trees so you can get the freshest. Pomegranate things are a great thing to grow. They make great screening, and they don't get very tall. They're almost like big bushes instead. So I just continue to peel this open and then take off these white bits. Wow, we are so lucky. This is such a perfect pomegranate. Every seed is perfect. All right, well, I already seeded some, so I think this should be enough for my salad. So the next thing I'm gonna do is take this and dump it on the salad. How wonderful. All right, I'm gonna go check on my squash and see if it's ready to come out of the oven. All right, here they are, nice and crispy and dark brown on the edges. So we are gonna take these with our spatula and put them right onto this salad. So it's so nice to have the juxtaposition of something cooked, you know, along with the raw salad. It does taste great together. Wilbur agrees. All right, now we have our dressing here. If for some reason yours has separated at all, you can always just hit that blender button again and mix it back together. All right, I am going to take this and pour it over the top. I always like to heavily dress my salads, and you can do that when you make them, so they're extremely healthy and extremely flavorful. All right, this is such a wonderful salad. Here we are in November, and these squashes and these pomegranates and this lettuce and lemon balm are all still available in the garden. So you really, really can eat seasonally in a very healthy way, especially if you grow your own food. So I hope this makes it onto one of your holiday menus. Enjoy.